public and members of the Rules Committee for the Los Angeles City Council. Mr. Morales, can we begin our proceedings by calling the roll?
Harris Dawson.
Present.
Rahman. Here. Yaroslavsky.
Here.
Soto Martinez.
Here.
Lee.
Present.
5 members present and a quorum, Mr. Chair.
All right. Before we go to public comment, I'll ask members if they have any items that they'd like to call special for this meeting. All right. Seeing none, we'll begin with public comment on individual items, multiple agenda items, and general public comments for issues germane to this committee. Our goal is to get to as many speakers as we possibly can. Then we will vote on issues as you see them on the agenda going forward. Could we prepare, Mr. Clerk, City Attorney, the room for public comment?
Yes, thank you. Members of the public wishing to speak on only one item shall be given an opportunity to speak on that item for up to 1 minute. Members of the public speaking on more than one agenda item shall be allowed to speak for up to 1 minute per item, up to a total of 2 minutes per meeting. Members of the public shall also have the opportunity to address the committee on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee, referred to as general public comment. Each speaker shall be allowed 1 minute of general public comment per meeting. Thank you.
And good morning, everyone. This is Jonathan Grote with the LA City Attorney's Office. Just to clarify, so this is a special meeting, so you'll have up to 1 minute per item, up to 2 minutes total for the items on the agenda. All the items are open, but there is no general public comment because it is a special meeting.
All right, we'll call names.
Andrea Vega, Candido, and Donald Harlan.
Good morning. And which items would you like to speak to?
Hi, good morning. I'm here to speak on item 8. My name is Andrea Vega. I am an organizer with the climate organization Food and Water Watch, and we'd like to encourage the City Council members to please vote in favor of Resolution 8 in favor of the Make Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act. This is an incredibly important piece of legislation that would highly benefit California, especially after the horrific LA fires, and also as both California and the city of Los Angeles is facing dire budget cuts. This would provide a whole new source of revenue and finally bringing equity by making these big oil corporate polluters pay for the damages that they've caused to the city of LA, to California for far too long. So I really encourage that the council do the right thing and vote in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
I'll call more names. Pam Bondi, Lionel Mares, Jonah Henry, and Eraza.
Good morning. And which items would you like to speak to?
Good morning, City Council. Lionel Morris speaking as an individual. Items 7, 8, 13, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes for the items. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Lionel Morris speaking as an individual. For item 7, I live in the valley, and I think that due to climate change and the water crisis, we need to conserve stormwater capture. It's very important because I'm a member of the Sierra Club, but speaking as an individual, I oppose the Delta Tunnel, and I think that the city should invest more in stormwater capture for future use because of climate change. Item 8, I echo the concerns from the previous commenter. I think big polluters should pay for what they're doing to our planet. They are harming our planet. It's getting hotter and hotter, especially in the valley. So it's important for us to save the planet from further climate change damage. And item 13, I support more funding for immigration legal services because our people are being traumatized, are being under attack by the federal government, and I've witnessed my community being scared, and it's been very quiet, so I've seen that change, and the character of my neighborhood, and I have family members who are scared, and I'm also scared because the federal ICE, they attack anybody, even American citizens. So we need to support our immigrant communities. And regarding the remaining items for the city charter reform, I believe that the city council, the newly selected city charter appointees should work closely with neighborhood councils, with budget advocates, with organizations on making our city more responsive to the people's needs. Government should be more responsive. For example, I listened to the Santa Ana City Council. They allowed people to speak for more than 5 hours, and I think that this city council should allow people to speak, and I hope that the new city charter commission will make revisions to the charter recommendations to make government more responsive and to the people, and to engage with neighborhood council and with budget advocates. Thank you.
Before the next speaker, I'd like to call a few more names. Goat, Reverend Daniel Tam, and Nicholas Cabeza.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Good morning, council members. My name is Jonah Henry. I'm from District 10, speaking on agenda item 8. I'm urging you to please vote yes on this resolution. You saw in the written public comments why the state bill is so important. I'd like to speak briefly about why the resolution is so important. Even though this legislation has widespread support throughout the state of California, the fossil fuel industry lobbyists in Sacramento are portraying it as something that's only supported by a select group of radical leftists, and that's simply not true. Their misinformation is very effective, though. As you're likely aware, the bill is currently stalled in the Assembly Judiciary Committee. And so I think that if a city council like the City Council of LA, representing a city with the population and the economy of LA, were to publicly declare their support for this bill, that it could potentially be a very pivotal moment in helping us to secure the remaining votes that we need in order for this bill to pass in Sacramento. San Francisco, as you are aware, and some other cities have passed resolutions supporting the bill, and I think that it's time for Los Angeles to do so as well. So with that, I encourage you to vote yes on this resolution, and thank you for considering my comment.
Good morning. I'm Daniel Tam, deacon at Holy Nativity Episcopal Church in Westchester, president of Interfaith Solidarity Network, and chair of LA Faith and Ecology Network. People of faith and conscience, thank you, Councilwoman Yaroslavsky, for your resolution, item number 8, to support the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act. This addresses the financial injustices imposed on taxpayers and working families from climate-related disasters by requiring fossil fuel polluters to offset the costs pushed down on taxpayers for the damage caused and aggravated by their policies. Committee members, we call for restorative justice that this bill represents and call upon you today to cast an aye vote. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Good morning. Nicholas Cabeza, here to speak on item number 10. Good morning, Chair, members of the Rules, Elections, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. My name is Nick Cabeza with the League of California Cities, proud co-sponsor of SB 346. As you are undoubtedly aware, short-term rentals are regulated via ordinances at the local level that includes rules and items such as licensure and TOT compliance. In some instances, ordinances limit the number of short-term rentals allowed to operate lawfully. Other ordinances may ban short-term rentals entirely, and some have no caps. Ultimately, the discretion is held at the local level. Unfortunately, it can be difficult at times to enforce these ordinances. Short-term rental facilitators do not display the addresses of properties on their listings, so it's nearly impossible if a unit is listed for rent is a legally licensed unit. So short-term rental facilitators often enter into these agreements, but I would also just encourage you to support this proposal and this resolution, SB 346. Thank you.
Morning. I hear you called all the names, but I didn't hear mine, so I'm just gonna.
Which items would you like to speak to?
My name's Rob Quan. I'm speaking on all of the charter reform
Hold on, Rob
commission
Quan.
items.
I don't think you shouldn't just come up and speak because you decide your name hasn't been called. Have we exhausted the names on the list? All right, apparently your name's not on the list, but we're gonna make sure you get an opportunity to speak starting now. Mr. Quan.
I signed up on that back one, so check that one out. I'd like to begin by addressing the Charter Reform Commission appointments and the commission and its operations and the potential legal exposure that the city might have as a result of how the staff of Karen Bass has been hijacking this commission and ignoring state law. First, 3 weeks ago, when it became clear that Karen only wanted her applicants to be looked at for this commission, I submitted a CPRA request asking for that list of applicants. The Charter Reform Commission staff still hasn't responded to that CPRA request. It's been almost 3 weeks, well past the 10-day window for a response with an estimate. Second, last week's Charter Reform Commission meeting, the agenda for the application process, which this is all based on, was not compliant with the Brown Act. It was inaccurate, ambiguous, and inadequate. It didn't merely fail to hear comment, but this is something that is vulnerable to a cure and correct because the agenda was inaccurate. So in the time being, I've submitted a Brown Act complaint with the district attorney's office. I'm hoping I don't have to do a cure and correct, but I will note that violations of this section can result in that decision, the one made on Tuesday, the one being made today, being overturned and rendered null and void. Beyond the inconvenience, I don't think our budget chair would really appreciate us having to cough up attorney's fees. I'd like to tentatively congratulate the 5 appointed commissioners. Please appreciate the shenanigans that are being engaged in with this commission. On Tuesday, Karen staffers tried to jam through something else that was interesting. All of a sudden, they said, we need to appoint 2 alternates along with these 5, just in case something happens. And you know what that is? That is Marquise and Karen wanting the flexibility and ability to quickly replace any of these 5 people before they go up for a vote. And that was killed because I spoke up on this not being compliant with the Brown Act once again. And for the city attorney, next time, I will just convey this out loud as I do at the council meetings instead of doing it discreetly. There's a whole lot more to say, but I'll save it for later. And I'll make sure my name gets in that time.
There's one additional name signed up, Michael Lipp.
All right, we don't see this last speaker. Mr. Clerk, what items are before us?
If the committee would like for me to read into the record items 1 through 16?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution Rodriguez-Hernandez to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 1043. Item 2 is a chief legislative analyst report and resolution to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 592. Item 3 is a CLA report and resolution Rodriguez Park Soto Martinez to include in the city's 2025-26 federal legislative program support for legislation and/or administrative action that funds the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. Item 4 is a CLA report and resolution Rodriguez Blumenfield to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Senate Bill 782. Item 5 is a CLA report and resolution Rodriguez Park Lee to include in the city's 2025-26 federal legislative program support for Senate Bill 1323. Item number 6 is a city clerk report relative to the feasibility of adding a digital component to the Prop 218 protest submittal process. This item is also referred to the Budget and Finance Committee. Item number 7 is a CLA report and resolution Yaroslavsky Raman to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 638. Item number 8 is a CLA report and resolution Yaroslavsky Harris Dawson to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for both Assembly Bill 1243 and Senate Bill 684. For item number 9, there is actually a correction to read into the record. It is a resolution Yaroslavsky Hutt to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support, not opposition, to Assembly Bill 630. Item number 10 is a CLA report and resolution to Blumenfield Raman Yaroslavsky to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Senate Bill 346. Item number 11 is a CLA report and resolution, Park Rodriguez, to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 1253. Item number 12 is a resolution, Lee Hernandez, to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 695. Item 13 is a CLA report and resolution to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for a $60 million increase in state funding for immigration legal services. Item 14 is a CLA report and resolution, Padilla Jurado, to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Assembly Bill 495. Item 15 is a resolution, Soto Martinez Hernandez Price, to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program support for Senate Bill 635. Item number 16 is a CLA report and resolution to include in the city's 2025-26 state legislative program a position on Assembly Bill 1002. And these are the items that the committee would like to take on consent for now, correct?
All right, Chair is recommending we take these items on consent. If there are no comments or questions from members of the committee, I'll ask that we call the roll.
Thank you. And just to clarify for item number 6, it will be a note and file. And the others will be to adopt the resolution and/or CLA report. Councilmember Harris Dawson.
Sorry.
Hold on, we want to double clarify item 9, which I think you gave us a correction for, but we want to double, triple.
Yes, the correction is on the agenda language only, so we will be adopting your committee will be to approve the resolution in support of Assembly Bill 630.
Got it, all right, good, good, all right.
Thank you.
All right.
Harris Dawson,
Yes.
Raman,
Yes.
Yaroslavsky.
Yes.
Soto Martinez,
Yes.
Lee.
Aye.
5 ayes, these items are approved.
All right, can we take up items 17 through 21 at this time?
Thank you. I'll read those items into the record. And I just want to state another correction for the record. Item number 11 was to approve the CLA's revised resolution on that vote just taken. Item 17 is, actually items 17 through 21 are all reports from the Charter Reform Commission relative to the appointments of commissioners to serve on the Charter Reform Commission. Number 17 is Carla Fuentes, 18 is James M. Thomas, 19 is Diego Andrades, 20 is Andrea Mack, and 21 is Michael Yap.
All right, I see that we have the executive director and some of our appointees in the chamber this morning. I'll ask our executive director if you'd like to come up and just give us a quick summary of the folks that are before us today.
Thank you very much, Council President, and it's an honor to be here with our a couple of our new appointees, as well as our interim chair, to speak on the process that this commission undertook the last couple of weeks to get the commission up and running. As charged by the City Council, the last 5 commission appointments were to be appointed by to go through a process approved by the commission and then appointed by the commission, and they took that process up. They laid out a timeline that concluded last week. We had over 140 applications. The commission also directed staff to review those applications and come back with approximately 20 candidates for the commission to approve, the commission to review. And they also made sure that we looked at the commission's current composition and looked for opportunities to improve representation to reflect better the city of Los Angeles. And in that group of 20, I think we accomplished that, and the commission took their time, looked through resumes, and read applications, and and had a great discussion. We listened to public comment from community members and from some people who were seeking appointment on the commission. And they sent forward a group of 5 applicants to become commission members that are now before you today. And it was a great process, and the final outcome is definitely a more well-rounded commission that reflects the great diversity of our city.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Councilmember Rahman?
Was just curious about, there's a number of proposed commissioners who talked about the number of council districts as well as greater communication between constituents and representatives. And I was just curious, either in their own words or whether if you want to summarize, what specific changes were discussed in terms of these goals?
Thank you for that question, Councilwoman. I will say that it was, to your point, that was something that we saw in probably a majority of the applicants who were interested in that part of charter reform. Not many were specific. No, I don't think anyone actually gave like a specific number of council districts they wanted to see. They just wanted to see greater representation. They thought by increasing the number, there would be greater representation and greater access to their council members. And if either one of the appointees wants to speak to that, I'd be happy to. Sure. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Carla Micaela Fuentes, and in terms of CD geography, I grew up in Council District 15. So I grew up in the San Pedro area. I currently live in North Hollywood, but I also spent some time living in Northridge. So I feel like just as one candidate, I've lived across the city, so I hope to bring that geographic representation as well as equity lens to the position.
Hi, committee members. Nice to be here with you all today. My name is Andrea Mack. I grew up in the Chinatown, Los Angeles area, and for my day-to-day job, I do civic engagement and community outreach work, and just realizing that there's a need for culturally competent outreach needed for communities, and that's something I'm looking forward to bringing to this commission. Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Raymond Mesa. I was one of the original 8 appointments, and I'm currently the interim chair of the Charter Reform Commission. Councilmember Rahman, to directly address your question, we did not have a discussion on any proposed recommendations to the charter yet. We're not at that phase. The discussions are limited to the applicants to fill the remaining 5 seats. As the executive director mentioned, many of the applicants put on their sort of their goals and aspirations. What the current, we have 7 right now of the original 8 that are seated. What we were primarily looking at was to fulfill the diversity amongst Los Angeles. There were many considerations that were given, such as, without, of course, quotas or ratios, we were definitely looking, at the age composition, the racial composition, the city district composition. And so I just wanted to let you know, we haven't even begun to have those discussions yet on any proposed recommendations to the charter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, Pastor Thomas, you got up and drove from the valley, so. Yes. Good morning.
Well, hello, everybody. So I'm from the San Fernando Valley, but I've lived in Miracle Mile as well. I'm from Champaign, Illinois. I look forward to serving on the commission. I'm also a political science professor in the Department of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA. And so what I'm hoping to be able to do is bring the kind of scholarship to the commission that is ethnic-based and research-based. And so that's what I'm hoping to be able to do.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you all so much. If there's no further discussion on this item, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to approve these nominees.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
Rahman. Yes. Yaroslavsky.
Yes.
Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Lee.
Aye.
5 ayes, these items are approved.
All right, Madam Clerk, can you confirm that concludes our business for today?
That is correct. The desk is clear.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.